having Holly on the call. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited that you finally asked me to be here. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I'm
thank you for
super
hopping
excited.
on and running to the troops.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
excited. I love training, guys. Training is my cup of tea. So I also love training people who give feedback too. So please, hey Ben. So please put questions in the chat. If you have something you need to say, put your hand up. I would love to address anything and whatever questions you have for me. Okay. Um, I may or may not call on you guys to talk. So we'll see. Keep your headphones turned up and pay attention. So I may be calling your name. Anyway, Jonah, let's start this. How do you want me to start?
let's just do it Q&A style. So let's jump right into it. So Holly, you're the first thing I want to touch on is schedule because you're
Mhm,
one of the best people I've seen in terms of managing and maintaining a busy schedule. And
mhm.
anytime we're talking to a new agent or looking to bring them in, the very first thing that we sit down and figure out is schedule and maintaining consistency. Because if you're not consistent with your business, well, your business is not going to pay you consistently. And we had that was probably the number one thing that helped me the most, especially my first 2 years, was maintaining a consistent schedule and sticking and applying to my schedule. And we had Colin Mothersole on the call not too long ago. At the end of it, they asked him what was the number one characteristic that's allowed you to write 40, 50K a month. He's just simply said schedule. So if you could touch on the importance of schedule, but also how you manage and maintain a busy lifestyle while still producing $500,000 last year, managing your sales team, and what your schedule looks like exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, oddly enough, I just got off a coaching call with one of my top producers, and one of the things we talked about was our time, right? Time is one of those things you can't buy back, right? You can screw up a sale, and guess what? You just buy more leads. Time you can't buy back, right? You have to manage your time. Your time is very important, right? We're all, we're working our jobs. We're our own bosses, right? We're not getting paid salary here, right? But if I was to look, I'll use Caleb Mann as an example on my team. If I was to pay Caleb Mann based on his time and what he's able to do hourly, right? It would make him want to produce more because he's getting paid hourly, right? If your time was worth $1,000, you're going to make sure you're not going to waste time, hours upon hours, doom scrolling, right? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Netflix, whatever the heck you do, right? Start looking at your schedule as a way to make more money. My schedule is always booked. 7 o'clock in the morning, sometimes sooner. I ran a 5 o'clock in the morning appointment today, right? From 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. today, actually later because I got church and stuff to do later today, but that has nothing to do with the business. But from 5 to 5 today, my schedule is packed. Every 30 minutes, something's going on, or every hour, something's going on. I recently heard Dan G say wealthy people schedule their days by the hour. I believe you should do it by 30 minutes. So when I say it is important to schedule your time, it is very important. One of the most asked questions that I get from mentors within Pinnacle is they're asking for a coaching call on, Holly, how do I manage my calendar? And oddly enough, it's kind of funny to see how so many people don't know how to manage their minutes. So please, guys, manage your minutes, manage your time well so you can get more things done. If you can get more things done, you can make more money, right? If you just stay organized. How I stay organized, like I said, I book out my day. If I know I'm working from this time to this time for the day, I got to plan things during the day to do, right? I am so busy, I don't take a break for lunch. If I do take a break for lunch, it's probably during one of the training calls and I'm listening, taking notes, and trying to scarf down whatever I have in my fridge, right? I'm so busy that I have to make sure that my time is so structured, right? Some of you may have teams. Some of you, you're just a solo producer. If you're a solo producer, you have all the time in the world to be making money. There's no excuse to why you're not, right? And if you're building a team, you have to be even more cautious and careful with your time, right? Because Jonah, like I do, you can't spend all day just writing policies. You got agents that need your coaching. You got agents that need you to spend time with them so they can learn how to build a team, write policies, grow, hit the next level, right? It all starts with your schedule. I would say your schedule is the foundation of your business. If you don't know how to manage your time, you will not be able to manage a business, period. So get good at setting alarms, setting timers, working on a calendar. I have a digital calendar and I have a couple paper calendars. I have to be organized with my time. I have a million and one things to do every day, but everything gets done on my checklist for the day. Everything gets done in the calendar. What gets scheduled gets done, guys. If you don't put it in the schedule to work, you're not going to work. So definitely put that in the schedule, guys. As silly as it sounds, you need to look at your calendar and see the entire day blocked off, 7 to 7. Whatever, if you work 12 hours, 10 hours, I don't care. At least have it in the schedule that is blocked off to work 9 to 5, 5 to 5, whatever it is. Today, it's 5 to 5 for me. Yesterday, it was 7 to 5, right? Or actually, it was 7 to 7. It was a long day yesterday, too. But it's all in the calendar. You, Jonah, should be able to go to every single one of your calendars and see an entire day blocked. Not just appointment here and there or whatnot, but he needs to see that you are working. Your calendar needs to be yellow. It needs to be full of appointments. It needs to be full of work time, dial time, one call closing time, whatever you do, right? It needs to be full. I have a nanny that comes in every day to watch my kids so I can spend time working. Wouldn't it be wasteful for me to pay her hourly working from 7:30 to 4:30 if I'm sitting in my office not doing anything, right? Total waste of money. Now, I'm sure not a lot of you probably have nannies working at your house trying to help you get your business going off the ground. Some of you guys are single, some of you may have families, but it would be so wasteful for you with no responsibility of families, kids, or whatnot to just sit there and waste time endlessly, right? I have to be super careful with my time because I'm paying people on the dollar to do work. That means I need to be working too, right? So, scheduling is so important, guys. You have to be organized with that. I cannot stress that enough. When I interview people to work with me in this business, I break down their schedule, what it would look like. I don't bring people on who want to just work a couple of days a week. It's not going to happen that way. Even people who want to work part time, I'm telling them, look, you got to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, at least a minimum of 3 straight days, but you're working 9 hour days during that time, right? Your schedule is going to be what keeps your business going. Jonah, what's the next question that you have for me?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people on this call, they have, a lot of people on this call have goals of hitting President's Club. A lot of people want to write $500,000 in insurance. So let's just talk about some practical, applicable tips that they can apply to their business. So
Okay.
my first question for you would be, what did your schedule look like and how many hours a week were you able to dedicate specifically towards your personal production? Because I know you're a mom. I know you help your husband out with church. I know you guys have other nonprofit things going on. So you balance a lot of different buckets within your life. So what did that look like specifically in terms of focus time towards personal production?
Okay. Put an emoji in the chat if your goal is to hit President's Club. I'm just curious of how many people have that as a goal this year. So, in order to hit President's Club, you got to schedule it, right? You got to schedule the time that it takes to hit 400K in a year. I've done it for the past 2 years. I'll talk about my first year doing it. I wasn't really building much of a team then. It was just me solo producing, and it was a little bit more easier to schedule. If you hit President's Club once, Jonah, you know this. The second, third, or more, piece of cake after that. It's the first year you just got to jump that hurdle with. So,
Yep.
President's Club, guys, you have to break it down, right? Let's break down the goal. This is what I do with every agent who has a goal of doing something big, right? 400K in a year. How am I going to write 400K in a year? Let's break it down by months, right? That's about $37,000 a month, right? Am I doing the math right? Someone help me out here.
Yes.
I make sales, but I don't do math. Okay, 33K. 33K. What does it take to do 33K in a month? Well, let's break it down by weeks. Divide that by 4. You need to do about 8K a week, 8 or 9K. What does it take for someone like who said they're going to hit President's Club? Gabriel Southern. What does it take for you to do 8K in a week? Do you already know what that number is for you?
Yes.
Okay, what does that look like? I'm going to teach you guys how to set a goal and properly walk you through how to achieve that goal. I'm going to use Gabriel here as an example. Thank you for being a volunteer, voluntold. So to make 8K a week, what do you have to do that?
I'd say 5 prezzies a day. So about 20, 25 prezzies a week, and my closing percentage. So probably around at least $200 a day and 5 prezzies a day.
Okay, that is perfect. That is a very solid, very real answer. Would you say, Jonah, 5 presentations a day? Very easy to hit 8K plus in a week if you do 5 presentations a day. Depending on your close ratio, listen, guys, everyone has different ratios. We're all on different skill levels, right? But for Gabriel, he knows if I'm going to do 8, 9K a week, I need 5 presentations. I need about 200 dials, right? He knows his numbers. Every one of you that put in the chat that you want to hit President's Club this year, you got to know those numbers too. So Charles, Ethan, Lewis, what are your numbers, right? I'm not going to call on you guys, but think guys, what are my numbers I have to do daily to hit my weekly goal, to hit my monthly goal, to hit my yearly goal, right? You have to break that down. Guys, it is so simple if you just break it down in little bite-sized chunks, right? My kids love eating steak. We're a carnivore family. If I just slap a ribeye on my 4-year-old daughter's plate, one, she's in heaven, but she can't consume that. I have to cut it in bite-sized chunks. She'll eat the whole 12-ounce ribeye if I gave it to her, but I have to put it in like little bite-sized chunks. It's the same thing with this business with goals. Hitting President's Club for a year is a massive goal. It's going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. 200 dials a day. Go you. Like, that's a lot of work. But if you are consistent in that, and we'll touch on consistency here in a little bit, if you're consistent in that, Gabriel, by September, by October, you're probably going to be there. Oh, you're going to probably be right at 400 there at that point, right? If you're consistent now and you keep hitting those goals, before December, you'll hit President's Club way before then because you're going to grow and your skill level is going to keep growing and growing and scaling the more consistent you are. Within 6 months, it's not going to be 5 presentations a day. It may be down to 3, 4 presentations a day because your skill level grew. Your second year hitting President's Club, it may be 2 presentations a day and you got it, right? Your skill level is going to continue to grow. But guys, do you see what I mean here? When you're trying to hit a major goal like President's Club, you have to break it down in bite-sized chunks. You can't just attack it like a 4-year-old trying to eat a 12-ounce ribeye. Okay, it's not going to happen that way. You're going to choke out of the business and you're going to leave. You're going to quit, right? Because you're going to be so overwhelmed with such a massive goal. It's so much easier for Gabriel to look at his day, look at his calendar 7 to 7 and see, okay, 200 dials. I can do that. Anyone can do that. Anyone can do 200 dials. I have one of my new agents on today. She's on here too, Natalie. She can look at her calendar and be like, okay, if I just dial, I can do this, right? And then at the end of the week, what's she going to realize? Oh, I hit 8K in sales. That was a piece of cake. All I had to do was 200 dials, right? Don't overcomplicate the goal. Don't overcomplicate the process as well. It's so simple, guys. It's just, that's it. That's all the business is. It's just this right here. 200 times a day for Gabriel. He can hit his goal by the end of the month. He's going to hit the monthly goal, 33K or whatnot. By the end of the year, he's at the next Pinnacle Convention getting his award for President's Club. Who all wants to be there with him doing that, right? Gavin's in it. Yeah, I saw that, right? So Jonah, to answer your question there, breaking down specifics, it's so easy. You just got to put it in bite-sized chunks. And I'm pretty sure that's easy for everyone to understand. If you have more questions about that, please throw it in the chat. We can always address that.
Man, that was well said, because the truth is that consistency is the most important, where long-term consistency smokes short-term intensity every day of the week. And I learned that firsthand, where some of you have heard my stories, but it's worth repeating, where when my first year in this business, I didn't take my first 3 months as seriously as I should have. And only January issue paid about 10, February issue paid about 12, March issue paid about 13. And so it was right between that 10 to 13,000 range for each month. And by the time March rolled around, I'm like, shoot, I'm already a quarter into the year. Like I just blew my shot. I just blew my shot at hitting President's Club. And that's what I wanted to do. And that was one of my goals. I'm like, man, like I really effed myself. And I'm like, you know what I can commit to? I can commit to doing 40K a month. So I'm gonna do that. And then 40 turned to 60, and then 60 turned to 70. And I went from, at the beginning of the year, not even thinking in my mind that it was possible to write 400,000. Not only did I write the 400,000, but I blew past that and wrote 550. And so it's very easy for us to overestimate what we can do in the course of, or overestimate what we can do in the course of a few weeks, a month, 3 months, and underestimate what we can do in the course of 6 months, 9 months to a year. And so, Holly, talk to us about, what did your lead spend look like to write $500,000?
That's important. Gabriel, like we talked about, it takes 200 dials for you to do in a day, right, to hit your goals. How many leads does that look like for Gabriel, right? Or what does that look like for you, Milo, right? How many presentations do you need? How many leads does it take for that presentation number? So everything all starts with leads. Leads is going to be probably your biggest expense in the business. But remember the saying, guys, it takes money to make money. For me, my first year, actually all 2 years, my 2 years of hitting President's Club, each time I have spent $2,400 every single week to get the presentations I needed, the appointments I needed, to hit President's Club.
Hey, Holly, you broke up. You were spending $240 a week or $2,400 a week?
24. Sorry, not 200.
Oh, 2,400. I was just messing with you, but $2,400 a week. 10 grand a month. So basically, right around that 10K a month lead spend.
That's a big number for a lot of agents to hear. Like, it's scary, and I'll tell you just how scary it was for me. Okay, because if I was scared, I know for sure you guys are probably shaking in your boots thinking, shoot, I put my emoji in the chat. Now I got to spend $2,000 plus a week. What? Yes, you do. But let me break it down for you. So when I started in the business, okay, I was barely spending $700 a week, barely spending $700. I was told to spend $1,000 a week. And I would lie to my mentor, yeah, I spent $1,000. No, I did not. I spent like 700 and whatnot. We would do our coaching calls, and she would say, okay, so how many presentations did you have? How many appointments did you have for the week? And I would tell her, it's like, that's not a lot. So what did you spend on leads? And at that point, I'm caught. I'm not going to keep lying to her. So I was like, I spent 700. And she's like, I guarantee you, and I promise you, you spend $1,000 next week, you will double the amount you spent. I'm like, just $300 extra dollars. No way. And she's like, do it. I dare you. And if I'm wrong, I'll buy your next batch of leads. Well, she wasn't wrong. And I made money. So I wasn't mad about it. But I learned a lesson there. Leads are opportunities. You have to have enough opportunities to hit your daily goal, presentation goal, monthly goal, your yearly goal. You have to have enough opportunities. And then when I decided to, a year later into the business, I decided, I'm going to hit President's Club. I was at my first convention and I made it my goal. It was February. And I was like, I can do it. I can hit 400K by the end of the year. I've learned, I've grown, I've gotten better. I'm a year into the business. I can do this. At that point, I was spending, as I got better, I realizing the more money I spend, the more appointments and presentations I can have, the more sales I'll get. At that point, I was spending $1,500 in leads. Like comfortably was able to do 1,000 a week. Now I upgraded it little by little to 1,500, and I was happy with the results from that. I was doing like 5K weeks. But I realized doing President's Club, I had to up it to 8, 9, 10K weeks, right? Plus, with holidays and things like that, some weeks are smaller. So my goal was 10K weeks. I really wanted 10K weeks. So I was told, spend $2,000. And I was like, shoot, that is a lot of extra money. And it scared me. And I'm the sole income provider for our home. And it scared me trying to spend extra money on the business. We were working on getting approved for a house, and I didn't want the business expense to jump by an extra $1,000, right? So I just decided to. I was like, you know what? Why not do it? I make money by spending more money, and I need to make more money. So therefore, I must what, guys? Spend more money, right? I'm curious on the average lead spend for this group, especially for the guys and girls who put they want to do President's Club this year. Those of you who put that they want to do President's Club this year, are you actually spending $2,000 in leads? Can I see a hand for those who have their hands up? I'm waiting for hands. I don't see them. Ooh. How are we on our goal for President's Club? It is May 14th. No, but Kelly said I need to. Kelly said you needed to because I told him he needed to. Come on, guys. Let's get those hands up. Who wants to hit President's Club? Keep it up if you're willing to up your lead spend to get there. I didn't see hands move. That's good. Okay, guys. I challenge you. I challenge you to become 2K lead spenders this year. You don't have to jump immediately. I did not, okay? That February, when I decided I was going to hit President's Club, I said, okay, I'm going to call my lead vendor, and I'm going to up my leads, and I'm going to up it by an extra $200. I baby stepped there, guys. It's just like that ribeye. We don't consume the whole ribeye right then and there. Even though we're grown adults, we can probably handle ribeye with our bare hands, okay? I know I can. You guys can too. But when it comes to business and trying to change up your expenses, you got to do it in bite-sized chunks so you don't sink, right? So I gradually increased my lead spend every 3 weeks by $100 or so, just so I knew I can do it. I challenge you guys who had your hand up to do 2K in leads. Gradually up your lead spend. Talk to Jonah and Claudia about this, right? Get on a good lead plan. You have to be on a good lead plan to hit President's Club. Your lead plan is going to change and it's going to change a lot while you're trying to hit President's Club because your skill levels, you're going to see it grow rapidly, right? But you need to get on a lead plan and you need to increase those lead expenses gradually. Don't do it all at once. You're going to choke on that steak. We don't want that, guys. Okay. So how many hands were up for President's Club? Can I see it again? Will you guys try to work on your lead spend? Can I see your hands up for that too? Can we make a commitment today? Because it's embarrassing to put your name in a chat and emoji in the chat to hit President's Club and you're not up there getting your award next year. Let's up that lead spend, guys. I promise you, you will not regret it. Just like my mentor told me, I promise you, you will make more by spending $300 extra. And I did. So Let's talk about mindset here for a second. Jonah, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, you didn't, there wasn't a single person you saw how many people walked across the stage, hit President's Club at convention. There wasn't a single person that was spending a few $100 a week on leads that hit President. It's physically impossible. You can't do it. You need more people to talk to than that. Doesn't matter how good of a closer you think you are. Jenny asked a good question. She said, when did you find that the scaries went away?
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about mindset. This is important for guys and girls, okay? Especially for girls, or our chemical makeup is set up a lot differently than guys. There's going to be a few more things that's going to scare us more than the guys on this call. That is natural. That is okay. We need to be okay with it, okay? Don't try to be tough like a man. You're not built to be a man. I'm sorry. You're a weak girl, okay? But you can be strong, all right? So when I started, it was very scary. Literally it was a do or die situation. And okay, that's a little dramatic, but you guys know what I mean. I had to make this work. So I had pressure on me. And some people think that pressure is a bad thing. We can't put pressure on ourselves. Like that's negative energy. Like guys, no, that's bullcrap. You need healthy pressure in your life to achieve and do the things you want to do. Okay. That pressure could be being the sole income provider for your family. That pressure could be, I got a nanny to pay in 2 weeks and I better make some money. That pressure can be, I got bills to pay, I'm behind on rent, I'm going to be evicted, right? I had a guy on my team who was 2 hours short of being evicted from his home and he got a deposit from, I don't know, a random carrier, right? He had a lot of pressure on him the week before to make some money, so deposits were coming in that Monday. So pressure is healthy. Pressure is good. Pressure looks like different things. It could be scary, right? The scaries, like what was it, Jenny, that said that, right? That doesn't ever go away, I would say. I would say the pressure releases and gets lighter, but I'll always have that pressure to need to make X or have X goal done for the family, right? That never goes away, right? As you grow in business, your goals grow, right, Jonah? Like you know this. You know, those needs change, business needs change, family needs change, life upgrades, right? All that changes. You'll always have pressure in the business to make the next sale or recruit the next person, get them to Presence Club, right? You know, you'll always have that. But when you're talking about like the scaries, like the beginning stage where you're not that great at sales, but you just got to figure it out and you got to buy the next batch of leads. I get it, guys. It is scary. You're going to tell Jonah, yeah, I spent $1,000 on leads, 500, right? You know, it's natural
Well,
to be.
Holly, I think what Jenny may have been referring to is like when you got up to that 2K consistent spend, you were spending a serious amount of money on leads. Is
That
that, or
is
I'm
that
assuming that's what she was implying of like, when did the scares for that go away? Jenny, if you can unmute too and help us
in the
elaborate on
chat?
what you meant.
Yeah, can she clarify? Because okay, got it. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
more sense. Okay, I won't touch on the other stuff then. Thank you for stopping me. Alrighty, I want to make sure I'm giving you guys stuff that's actually applying to what you're talking about. Okay, so if you're just jumping in by little chunks, you know, like $2,000 is a lot. Jenny, what are you spending right now on average a week?
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, it's definitely around the 500 to 700 range for me, for sure.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely low. I mean, it just depends on what your goal is. I mean, if you have low goals, you're going to have a low lead spend. But I don't think anyone jumps into this business with low goals. You know what I mean? So you're just going to have to push through and do it. Like there's no other way. You have to make yourself put your card information in, email whoever you use for leads and say, I need X amount of leads. I need to spend this amount. If you tell any lead vendor, hey, I need to spend $1,000, you got leads for me, they're going to give you leads. I promise you. You tell them what your budget is, they'll give you leads, right? That's why it's important to get on a good lead plan with your mentor. But you just have to do it. You're spending $500 to $700 now. I challenge you, upgrade that to $900, $1,000 and no going back after that. The moment I spent $1,000 in leads, that was the last time I spent $700 on leads ever for the week. You just got to do
Holly,
it back.
not to interrupt. We're also getting a lot of questions about lead vendors, and we're not trying to steal your lead vendors anyway. But I think a common thing that we hear new agents make, they're like, all right, well, I can't get through all my leads for the week. Or Liz asked, what leads do you suggest buying, high intent versus age? So when did you flip that switch from second chance leads to spending more money on higher intent leads? And then what was the balance? Was it like a balance of 30-70 and then 50-50? Did you slowly taper? Did you go all into fresh high intent? What did that look like?
As long as I was spending $2,400 in leads, whether it was a handful of second chance, all fresh, more second chance, less fresh, it just varied, right? As long as my lead spin was there, the presentations was there. That is what mattered to me. You guys all know the saying, all leads suck. They do. You just have to find the ones in the leads that actually want the presentation, right? I can spend $1,000 with super age leads, or I can spend $1,000 with a handful of fresh leads. It don't matter, guys. If you spend the money, the presentations will be there. Do a mixture. Do part second chance and age, and do part fresh. Do internet, do digital, whatever you think you are good at, whatever you can get mentorship on, do it. But somewhere along the way, you're gonna have to find your niche on what works for you. For what worked for me was having majority fresh and some second chance, some aged, right? So you're just gonna have to see what works best with you. Everyone's lead plan is different. My brother Kelly, his lead plan is very different from mine. He is majority aged and second chance and a little bitty bit of fresh. And guess what? Every few months, as he learns and grows, that lead plan changes because he's learning and growing. He's like, okay, let me spend a little bit more, in this area and a little bit less in this area for leads, and let me see what my outcome is. Oh, more presentations, more sales, cool. Let me stick with this for a bit, right? So your lead plan is going to continue to change and grow as you do as an agent based on your skill level. But to answer everyone's question for what type of leads, it don't matter. Buy leads. You need leads. Do a mixture or go all in on one. Everyone's different. Caleb Mann, he's a top producer. He only does age leads. That is it. Kelly does a mixture of a little bit of everything. I do a mixture of a couple things. But our lead spin's the same. 2K plus. That's the results that show when we spend that amount. So to answer your question about leads, it's really not about the type. It's about how many you get and how much you're spending. And then Jenny, I hope I answered your question there. To get over the scaries, it literally, you just got to get over it. Don't look back.
Yeah.
Make this week
Yeah.
the last week you spend $500. Make yourself grow out of that, right?
And
Jonah.
Holly, I want to transition the next segment of this call to speaking specifically to the females on this call, because it's no secret that the majority of people in sales are men, and the majority of the people on our team are dudes. And so it's just men and women are wired differently, and women are better at certain things than men are. Like, for example, on the phones, I think women are a lot better at building rapport and gaining trust than guys are, but also guys can handle rejection a lot more. So just speaking with Claudia and hearing her feedback, and, Claudia, feel free to unmute, but she shared about how, I needed to spend more on leads to just for my mindset to be able to hang up, or I needed to invest in higher intent leads to get less no's. And so if you could speak specifically, I'll just let you take it over and go down any route you want to go down, specifically speaking to the females on this call about just how that, like, certain things that you've noticed that necessarily, like, doesn't translate over, like the specific piece of advice you can give to the women on this call.
Okay, how many girls do we have on this call? Can I see like a heart in the chat so I can kind of know how many girls I'm speaking to? Thank you. Yeah, it's Claudia. Thank you for clarifying. I didn't know. I'm kidding. Alrighty, so okay, we got a good amount of girls here, and Mama. There we go. That's cute. Alrighty, yeah. Let's talk about mindset, guys. Don't tune out. I know I got guys on my team that struggle with mental health and struggle with rejection too. So this can apply to everyone. But let's talk for the girls, okay? Okay, girlies. We are wired differently. It's how we're made. We have a different chemical makeup, right? We're different, right? But you can train yourself to be different. You can train yourself to be strong, right? Mentally, physically. I met some strong girls, dude. They're scary. You can train yourself to not be so weak mentally and emotionally. Okay, mentally and emotionally. Those are two very things that I want to touch on here. We need emotional maturity in this business. We need mental maturity in this business too. Okay, you kind of go hand in hand. So let's talk about that. Here's an example of emotional immaturity, flying off the handle, getting upset. Mr. Jones cuts me out, so I'm going to throw a temper tantrum on Discord for 5 minutes for everyone to hear. Okay, that's immaturity, right? Having a pity session, crying session over someone not wanting to buy insurance from you, right? Guys, I promise you, the moment that person hangs up on you, says F you, says I'm not interested, I'm calling the cops, whatever rejection you dealt with, you're not even an afterthought. They do not even think about you again for the rest of that day. They hung up and they let it go. Why are you, as the agent, holding on to that all day long and letting that ruin your day, ruin your work ethic, ruin the rest of the day to dial? Now, every person you try to pick up, you got the scaries. You're nervous. Your voice is shaky. Another person cusses you out. Boom, you're done with the day. Jonah, I need a mental health day. I'm done for the day. I'm sorry. It was a tough day. Dude, we all get tough days. Don't allow the rejection to give you a tough day. Because again, they do not care about you. The moment you hang up, you're not even an afterthought. You're not even crossing their mind. They're not even going to their spouse at the end of the day saying, you can't believe what Jonah said to me on the phone. He was going to put me on a do not call list or blah, blah, blah. He said, forget you. Okay, he hung up on me, right? They don't care. They don't even think about you anymore. Why are you letting some lead that you spent $5 on, $10 on, or whatnot on, 50, I don't care. As long as you have leads, that's what matters. Why are you letting that person ruin your day? You see what I mean? They don't matter in the long run. The ones that matter is the one that wants the coverage. Get them the coverage. Pour your heart out into them. They're the one that deserves you and your attention. Don't let the ones that are rejecting you define the rest of your day. They do not matter anymore. You guys understand what I mean there? Don't let that ruin your mindset. Grow up a bit. Become tough. Become numb to the rejection. I had a girl, she was very, very nervous to start. She was doing it for her family, just like I did starting off. She's a pastor's wife too. And I had her practice dialing. I say, here's some leads. Here's my leads. Book me appointments. I don't want you to buy your first batch of leads yet. You're not ready mentally. Try these. So I bought some leads. She didn't even get through 10 dials and she called me crying. And I was like, girl, why are you crying? Well, Mr. Jones said this, and then this person over here said this, and then I got cussed out here. I'm like, okay. What, are they still bothering you? Like, are they texting you, or are they mad? No. Like, okay. So they forgot about you, right? Like they're moving on with their day. Yeah. Okay, you need to move on with your day, girl. You got a list of 100 leads to call. Let's call it. Let's book appointments, girl. And after that, she's like, you're right. A few weeks later, she's like, Holly, I keep getting rejected. I'm getting more no's than yeses. And I'm like, you figured out the secret. You get more no's than yeses. So instead of tallying up how many people you book, how many people say yes, I'll book an appointment, let's tally up how many people reject you. Let's make it a game. By the end of the day, she's like, 30 rejections, but 4 appointments. And I said, there you go. Tomorrow we need 60 rejections for 8 appointments. And then after that, her mindset shifted. She realized how insignificant the rejection was. Hopefully this helps you guys. Rejection is part of the business. Get numb to it. It's part of your day. Look forward to it, right? Read the book, Go for No. I'll add that to my Amazon list. Guys, this business is pretty much 60% rejection, 40% sales for the average person with a 60% close ratio. Obviously, if you get better and better, it's going to grow and grow for you. But think about that, guys. Go for the no. Go for the rejection because the yes is coming. It's there. You just got to get told no enough and then you'll get it.
Well said. Holly, let's transition the last few minutes of this call to, let's just open it up for a Q&A. So whether you're a male or a female, Holly wrote $500,000 in personal production last year. She's managing a team doing 300,000. So I'd say Holly knows what she's talking about. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat or unmute.
What would be some advice for mamas who aren't able to hire a nanny? I was not able to hire a nanny, but I did it anyway because I needed that pressure. Don't have friends and family with small children at home. Yeah, care.com, girl. Kylie. Yeah, Kylie. I use care.com. I hired a girl and I started working the day she started working. I pray to God I made a sale in 2 weeks to pay her. That's what I would do. I do not bring on any mamas on my team if they do not have childcare set up beforehand. What leads do you recommend? All leads. Do you run digital or mail leads? I do all mail leads. I've dabbled in digital for a little bit, but my niche was mail. I know I got agents that do 50-50. So whatever your niche is, you got to figure out what that is. So dabble in it. See what you like. What do you suggest for agent that doesn't have a lot to start for lead spend? I tell every agent, Kathy, that starts to have $1,000. $1,000 will get you a really good batch of leads for your first week as a brand new agent who knows nothing about sales. From there, you can scale. But if your budget is smaller, you're going to have to work with what you have. But working with
Holly,
what
sorry, you can finish that. You're good. You can finish your what you were saying.
Okay, I'll get right to you.
Wait, can you mute Milo? Thank you.
Alrighty. So, where was I, guys? Hang on. Start with what you have. But like I told Jenny, don't go back to that starting number. You have to make yourself grow in your lead spend. Milo, what was your question?
What would you say when it comes to the majority of your closes? Is it a lot of call to close? And then if you are booking appointments, are you only booking them like same day or one day out? Or what was that ratio looking like for you on your biggest years?
So I do appointment setting. It's easier for me with my particular schedule with having a large team and taking a lot of agent calls, coaching calls, and one-on-ones. So I put appointments in the calendar. It's easier for me to control that. But if I was someone on here who didn't have a large team, you can spend all day dialing. Dude, go for the one call closes. Those are great. But do one or the other. Be all in for one call close or be all in for appointment setting. It's really hard to blend the two. Really hard, guys. So that's my personal suggestion on that. And then you had a second part of that question. What was it, Milo? Oh yeah, if you booked appointments, I do same day or next day. So if I'm booking an appointment, okay, Milo, we have later today or tomorrow available. Do you prefer mornings, afternoons, or evenings? That's how I pitch it. So I make them pick within that time frame. Obviously, you'll get people who need outside the time frame. You can't help it. You just do what you got to do. But most of the time, it's today or tomorrow. Vince, your hand's up.
Jenny, or Vin, go ahead.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'll get to Jenny's question. Vin, your hand was up. You want to unmute?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, when you made the switch from going from one call closing to appointments, how did you manage like having both on your calendar? Like with your time and going through obviously all your appointments, were you just kind of turning off one call closing altogether? Or was it like there was a time period where you were doing both and trying to figure out which worked better for you?
I've actually never done both. Now there has been times I was calling to book appointments and let's say someone was like, hey, Holly, I'm free now. Like, and I look at my calendar and I say, okay, I've got an appointment going. I can do 30 minutes. Those are the one call closes I have done over the past few years. So, to answer your question, Vin, you kind of have to try it out a bit and see what's going to bring you balance in your business. Okay, Jenny, I'll get to your question. How do you balance your own production versus team training, building, recruiting? Do you designate days and designate time blocks in the day? Absolutely. There's a time block for every hour of the day. So I make my current schedule. Okay. Mondays is my go to my local office day with my team and spend time with them, do a lot of coaching and training. During that day, I'm doing catch up from the weekend, organizing emails, chatting with the team, doing trainings, doing basics class with new agents, and I am dialing to set appointments for my health leads. Tuesday, I'm doing my health leads. I'm trying to make a health sell. I will be starting that next in 2 weeks. Yay, so excited for that. Something brand new to get going in, right? There's always something exciting in this business. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is all life days. I am booking appointments and I am selling life insurance on those days. So that is a example there for you. But coaching calls are Fridays for my team, Mondays and Fridays. So you really have to just figure out what works in your schedule and make it a designated time, whether this day's for this or this time of the day on these days is this. You have to be in control of that. Will, your hand is up.
Yeah, I had a question about recruiting. So I've been in the solar industry for a while now, and a bunch of my guys have too. And so it's pretty easy to, get on a call with younger people and just be like, you don't have to spend any money on like leads and stuff. So during your recruiting calls, like, are you letting these younger people know that, you're going to have to spend 2 to 3 grand a week? Because
Yes.
you know what I mean? So like, I am not recruiting older people who have savings accounts and this and that for those lead spends. So like for these kids who are, coming out of high school or just graduating college, like how are you doing your recruiting calls, with
I
them knowing?
got it. So I'm very picky with recruiting. I set very firm expectations with new recruits. I let them know their average lead spend is going to be $1,000. And if I'm talking to young guys, broke girls, broke old guys, doesn't matter. I'm telling them you need to find $1,000 and then we'll talk. So that is
Oh,
my
yeah.
recruiting method. Jonah, you may do something different. But yeah, I'm very strict on that. Sorry. There's no way to
Yeah,
sugarcoat
Holly
it too.
and Mindy are the most savage on hiring calls. But here's the truth. If you put a gun to anybody's head and you said, hey, you need to get $1,000 in the next 24 hours, I firmly believe that 98% of people in America can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you can't
Thomas, you
sugarcoat.
got a question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, taking it tactically, you said 200 dials a day. Are you talking about dialing the same number, no one answers, and then you hang up and dial them again? Is that a dial? Find that.
I would say a lead per lead. Okay, 200 leads a day, right? It depends. If you're one call closing, then you're just calling through a list.
What if you're not even reaching them on the first call? Is that considered a dial? Is that one of your 200 dials a day? I'm just being.
No, I call my leads 3 times in a row to get them to pick up.
Okay, so you don't leave messages. You're going to call. If they don't pick up, you hang up. You call them again. If they don't pick up, then you call them again 3 times. That's 3 dials, correct? 3 of your 200 dials a day.
One of my dials. It really just depends. I know some people who do dials. I know some people break it down in leads. You'll figure that when you figure that out when you see your results from it. So I recommend 300 dials a day if you're counting individual dials.
So individuals are counted as a dial to you.
To me,
Individual
Gabriel,
individual leads is what you're saying.
yeah. For Gabriel earlier, I don't know how he counted it. Maybe it was individual dials, maybe it was individual leads. But obviously he knew the number to hit 8K for the week, right?
Yeah.
So
And you're not leaving any messages. You're just dialing until you actually reach the person
I
And if
leave
you don't reach them 3 times, then you move on to the next person.
I leave messages, so I'll call 3 times in a row and then I'll send a text and then I'll go on to
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody's got a different style. I just was trying to figure out what the best method was.
yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? I don't want to take, I know we're almost to the top of the hour. Any other questions?
Ollie, when you say that you are leaving a message, whether it's a text message or voicemail, is it both? Is it just a text message?
No voicemail.
A voicemail? And then what does your text message say? Do you have like a copy and paste, or do you have like an efficient way to do that?
Yeah, copy and paste. So all my devices, I recommend this for everyone. All Apple devices is the way to go. I copy and paste from my iPad, from my Notes app, what the text is, paste it into my messages, and send it out. I can get through 3 dials, and it's sending out a personal text in less than a minute. Really, really quick. How do you ground yourself after a work week? I guess this is different for everyone. What brings you fulfillment, Jenny? I mean, what is it for you that gives you purpose behind this business? For me, that's being with my family. Yes, buy a MacBook. It's worth it. Don't be a brokey. Sorry, Jenny. So, what brings you fulfillment in this business is going to help you have a stronger mindset in this business. Okay. You have to have a reason behind making every dollar. Every dollar needs a purpose. For me, it's having a better life for my kids. For me, it's our nonprofits or our school that we started or our church that we started. It's sending money to my brother who lives very poor in the Philippines as a missionary. So him and my nephews don't have to sleep on a dirt floor. For Jonah, it could be sending money to the orphanages and getting those started, right? Have a purpose behind your dollar, and you're going to find yourself working harder than ever. I got to see my brother and his family in the Philippines a couple months ago. When I got back home, I wanted to work even harder because I knew my dollars made a difference there. I got to feed refugee kids that were homeless, that were starving, were crying, begging for the granola bars in my backpack. There is purpose behind what you can do. And if you don't have purpose, I guarantee you I can help you find purpose. There's orphanages that need to be built. There's missionaries out there that need funding so their family can live poor and help people in need. There's a bigger and better purpose out there than just yourself. That's what's going to ground you after a long work week. Anything else?
Well
Guys?
said.
You ready to wrap up?
Yeah, Holly, wrap us up.
Okay. I challenge you guys. You raise your hand. You put your emoji in the chat. That is an official challenge. That's an official statement that I am going to hit President's Club. I am doing 2K this year in Leeds every week. Go to Jonah, go to Claudia, write it on a piece of paper, stamp it. I don't know, notarize it, put hot sauce on it, whatever you guys do. Let's make that commitment and stay true to what you committed to, guys. Be consistent in that.
100%. Well, Holly, in closing, I got to say, a ton of respect for what you and your husband do, and just not only the success you've had in this business and the numbers you've put up from personal production, your team, but also what you guys are doing with your nonprofits, your church, your school, the orphanages, and everything else. It's truly special to see, and you're doing God's work.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, let's make it a massive week, everybody. God bless.